At its height, the British Empire ruled over nearly a quarter of the Earth's U.S. landmass and governed more than 400 million people. It was the largest empire in history, an empire on which the sun never set. But its rise was not inevitable, and its fall was anything but sudden. It began on the waves. In the late 16th century, England was a small, relatively insignificant kingdom on the edge of Europe. But its ambitions were vast. Fueled by maritime innovation, religious rivalry, and a hunger for trade, English explorers set sail. First to the Americas, then to Africa, Asia, and beyond. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 marked a turning point. England was no longer just surviving, it was competing. By the 17th century, the British East India Company had become a global force. It wasn't just trading spices, it was building armies, forging alliances, and laying the groundwork for imperial rule. India, the jewel in the crown, would become the centerpiece of British expansion. Through diplomacy, warfare, and exploitation, Britain transformed from a trading partner into a colonial master. The 18th century saw Britain emerge as a dominant global power. Victories in the 7 Years' War gave it control over Canada and large parts of India. The Industrial Revolution supercharged its economy, allowing Britain to produce goods at scale and export them across its growing empire. Railways, telegraphs, and steamships stitched together distant colonies into a single imperial network. London became the beating heart of global finance and commerce. British banks funded railroads in Argentina, mines in South Africa, and plantations in the Caribbean. The pound sterling became a global currency. British culture, language, and law spread across continents, often imposed at the expense of local traditions. But power came at a cost. The American Revolution in 1776 was the first major crack. 13 colonies broke away, challenging the idea that British rule was eternal. Yet the empire adapted. It expanded into Australia, New Zealand, and deeper into Africa. The 19th century was its golden age. Queen Victoria presided over an empire that stretched from the Caribbean to the Himalayas. British rule brought infrastructure, education, and legal systems, but also exploitation, cultural erasure, and brutal repression. Famines in India, the Opium Wars in China, and the partitioning of Africa were all carried out in the name of imperial progress. Resistance simmered beneath the surface. Then came the World Wars. World War I strained the empire's resources and exposed its vulnerabilities. Colonies contributed troops and supplies, but the cost was immense. After the war, nationalist movements gained momentum. India, Ireland, Egypt. Voices demanding independence grew louder. World War II was the breaking point. Britain emerged victorious but exhausted. Its economy was shattered and its global influence waned. The United States and the Soviet Union had become the new superpowers. Decolonization swept across the globe. India gained independence in 1947, followed by dozens of other nations in Africa, the Caribbean, and Asia. The Suez Crisis of 1956 was a symbolic blow. Britain, once the master of global trade routes, was forced to retreat under pressure from newer powers. The illusion of imperial dominance was shattered. By the 1970s, the British Empire was no more. What remained was the Commonwealth, a voluntary association of former colonies bound not by conquest but by shared history. Today, Britain is no longer an empire, but its legacy endures in language, law, and culture. Streets in Delhi, railways in Kenya, parliaments in Australia, all echo the empire's imprint. The rise of the British Empire was driven by ambition, innovation, and ruthless efficiency. Its fall was shaped by resistance, war, and the unstoppable tide of self-determination. Empires rise. Empires fall. But the stories they leave behind shape the world forever. And the British Empire's story is one of contradiction, of progress and oppression, of unity and division, of glory and grief. It reminds us that history is never simple. It's layered, messy, and alive. The sun may have set on the British Empire, but its shadow still stretches across the globe.